Ever wonder why it seems like some products have this unspoken expiration date where the product just stops working? Like one day, it's all good, and the next, it's just broken, dead, donezo. And I'm not talking a natural expiration date you might get with milk that'll make for a stinky night. I'm talking this feels planned. It feels like someone just flipped a switch so that my product would stop working. Sound familiar? If you have any Apple products, it sure might, because they have actually done that. Not sure if it's an actual switch that they flip, but in 2017, Apple admitted it had deliberately slowed down some iPhones as they got older, something people had suspected for a long time. To be fair, Apple claimed it was done to improve the lifespan of the battery, but the thing is, they never told their customers they were doing this. Sure, maybe they had good intentions, but maybe they also knew that when a customer's phone starts slowing down unexpectedly, that customer will start shopping around for another newer iPhone. And hey, now Apple has more demand for their priciest phone version. Interestingly, Apple is now having to pay out a $500 million settlement due to a class action lawsuit on this exact issue of potentially scheming for a product to fall apart to boost sales. The issue's name, by the way, planned obsolescence. And unfortunately, Apple is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to planned obsolescence. And as I'm going to talk about more in this video, I'm worried that this trend of planned obsolescence is only going to get worse. It's not just that products are breaking, it's that products are being built to break. And things breaking isn't the only problem of planned obsolescence. It's also things going in and out of fashion at the drop of a hat. The forced microtrends and lifespans are ultimately costing us a fortune, and I think we need to finally talk about it. If you are new here, I'm Kara, and I make video essays on the intersection of money, media, and culture. If you like that kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe, and you can check out my videos on the buy now, pay later trap or the golden handcuffs trap. I think you're really gonna like those videos if you like this one, so go check them out after. And before we dive into how planned obsolescence reflects a larger shift in consumer culture and how it costs all of us, let's take a second to talk about something that actually is built to last, which is today's sponsor, Durable, the AI-powered website builder that helps you build professional websites in minutes. Get it? Durable, because durable means like it'll last a long time. I know it's cheesy, but I like it. Anyways, whether you are building a side hustle or a personal brand, or you just want a place to show off all of your work in one place, Durable helps you get online with a professional website instantly, and there's no coding required. All you have to do is describe your business in a few words, and Durable's AI creates the foundation for your site in seconds. From there, it is super easy to tweak the design and make it yours. Plus, it comes with a custom domain name, millions of stock images, and blog tools, and it all starts at only $12 a month. Durable is refreshingly simple if you need a website, so you don't have to overcomplicate things to create your dream website in under a minute. If you want to try it out, you can test Durable for free today at durable.co/Kara. And when it's time to publish, use code KARA30 to get 30% off your first 3 months on any paid plan. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to check them out, and thank you so much to Durable for sponsoring today's video and supporting this channel. Okay, so quick vocab. What exactly is planned obsolescence? According to Investopedia, quote, planned obsolescence is a purposeful strategy to ensure the current version of a product will become out of date or useless within a known time period. To me, the key word here is purposeful. Because of course, eventually everything is going to break down or not be useful. I mean, things that never go obsolete, like maybe water, a paperweight, optimism. In an ideal world, most products would become obsolete only once they break down from heavy use over time. Like a shirt you've worn for a decade as a closet staple, or a couch that's passed down generations because it was so sturdy and comfortable. When that shirt or that couch eventually break down and can't be used anymore, then it would be obsolete and replaced. Or, as we'll talk about later in this video, it might be repaired or even upcycled. But alas, we do not currently live in that ideal world. Instead, we see companies pushing a strategy where things aren't built to last. That way, you have to keep buying things again and again and again. In my opinion, planned obsolescence has two main categories that something can fall into. The first is the most straightforward, and it's called functional obsolescence. This is literally just something not functioning, not being useful after a certain engineered amount of time. This could look like Apple's iPhones starting to slow down, like we talked about earlier. It might be software that needs new paid updates to keep working. I mean, you see a version of this even with cars nowadays. Teslas are famous for having software updates, which are seen as a cool way to keep your car advanced, but if you don't get the update, you can lose entire functions of your vehicle. We also see functional obsolescence in our daily appliances. As the Wall Street Journal's headline puts it, the lifespan of large appliances is shrinking. If you know someone with one of those expensive, fancy fridges, microwaves, laundry machines, any of that, think about how they function over the years, and especially if compared to what perhaps your grandma has lying around in her house. I know my grandma's appliances are old, but they are still kicking.
Can I call you Rose?
The Washington Post also covered this phenomenon of new appliances breaking more easily, sharing, quote, "We used to be able to tell people a dishwasher could last 15 years, and now you're lucky to get 5 to 7 out of a dishwasher." I feel like that shouldn't be the case. We should be moving in the opposite direction, right? We are supposed to be living in the most technologically advanced age in human history. So why are old school appliances kicking our butt? Or take the Centennial light as an example. This is a famous light bulb that has been running almost non-stop since 1901, over 100 years. They literally turned that light bulb on before the first airplane ever took flight, before women in the United States had the right to vote, and decades before penicillin was ever discovered. If we assume some rate of progress, shouldn't we now have like light bulbs that last a millennia? I mean, seriously, what is going on here? I will tell you what, it's a little bit of corporate greed, it's a little bit of a manufacturer desire, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the shift in consumer culture. But before that, what was the other category of planned obsolescence that I was talking about? I mean, we already covered functional obsolescence, and what else is there beyond something not functioning over a certain amount of engineered time? The answer is something known as perceived obsolescence. And surprise, surprise, it's all about what is being perceived rather than what's the reality. Perceived obsolescence is when a product is still functional, but it's seen as outdated, maybe unfashionable, or simply less desirable. And it's only perceived this way because of marketing, trend cycles, or social pressure.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
Oh, hey, PC, you want to see the website and home movie I made?
Oh, I'm so creative and all my programs are so easy to use.
PC.
Water bottle culture is a perfect example of this. If you've seen my Let's Talk Water Bottle Culture video, you'll remember how micro trends are an enormous part of this world. At the time, Stanley Cups were the hottest product out there. You had literal mobs forming at Target to get their hands on the latest limited edition Stanley Cup. People were collecting armies of these metal cups like they were planning to build a rocket from scrap metal. It was, and still is, insane. And yet, Stanley Cups seem to be out, and Owalas are all the rage now. Stanley Cups, to many, are being perceived as obsolete, despite the fact that Stanley Cups are still fulfilling their main purpose, which is, you know, to hold water. There are too many examples to name of perceived obsolescence once you start thinking about it. Like, I know we keep talking about Apple today, but seriously, why do so many people line up for the newest iPhone when it drops? Yeah, we already covered that Apple does their sneaky little functional obsolescence, but they don't end their scheming there. They also push social pressure and marketing so that people upgrade their iPhones due to perceived obsolescence too. They push the narrative that if you don't have the newest iPhone, you're kinda lame. Cool kids have the newest edition after all. Side note, this is the exact same thing they do with the Apple versus Android debate. I'd argue they encourage the whole green bubble stigma that Android users receive, because the more lame and excluded that Android users feel because of their green message bubbles, the more people will want to be a cool blue bubble iPhone user. Sneaky, sneaky. Okay, and one last example that I have to mention when it comes to perceived obsolescence is fast fashion. Yes, the quality of fast fashion is already not great. Sometimes you'll have clothes breaking while you try them on for the first time. So that right there becomes functional obsolescence, in part due to trying to skimp on quality to increase margins. But then fast fashion's perceived obsolescence comes in the form of nearly 52 micro trends a year, one every single week. It leads to the stat of people wearing a fast fashion item an average of only 7 times before throwing the item away. It becomes an endless treadmill of styles that you have to keep up with if you're looking to not be fashionably or culturally obsolete.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
So why do either of these happen, functional or perceived obsolescence? I would argue it all ties into something bigger, and that is a cultural shift to what's known as throwaway culture. Throwaway culture is this mindset where we treat products, and even people sometimes, as disposable. It's the idea that when something breaks, goes out of style, or just feels a little less than, we toss it and buy new, rather than repairing or reusing what we already have. If you think about it, how often do you see someone mend a tear in their shirt instead of just ordering another one online? Or maybe fix a blender instead of chucking it in the trash and grabbing a new one during a holiday sale? Back in the day, repairing or upcycling items was much more the norm. If you broke your shoes, you swapped out the soles. If your shirt ripped, you patched it. If your clothes were unwearable, they became your kitchen rags. But with throwaway culture, we don't even try to do those things. Not when buying something new means just a few clicks. And throwaway culture is fueled by several things, including cheaper manufacturing that makes it easy to buy replacements, shorter trend cycles due to faster-paced media and corporate greed wanting us to buy more, and aggressive marketing that normalizes throwaway behavior. But, of course, it's also fueled by planned obsolescence, by products being literally designed to break or feel outdated after a short time. That way, you feel compelled to spend your money on something new. And that kind of spending, it racks up. Back to the appliances example we talked about, homeowners are spending about 34% more on appliances than they did 15 years ago. The article goes on to explain that, quote, homeowners are purchasing appliances with more bells and whistles, but which become obsolete sooner and have more aspects to repair versus appliances years ago. I mean, are we that surprised? We have refrigerators with talking TVs these days. Do we really need that? Especially if every little gizmo we add in there is another opportunity for something to break.
This fridge is not even a year and a half old, and we have had so many issues. Once we hit 1 year, so just outside of the warranty, the ice maker started acting up.
So obviously the uptick in spending on appliances and the faster turnaround of products in general, it's awful for our finances.
The fridge that came with our house is going to cost us $20,000 to replace.
But we haven't even begun to talk about what it's doing to our environment. And spoiler, it's not great. Unsurprisingly, planned obsolescence means more obsolete items piling up in landfills. More raw resources being used to create new products that are, just like their last versions, destined to be obsolete within the decade. As the Climate Change Review puts it, planned obsolescence is designed for waste. In that same piece, they share that in 2022, 5.3 billion mobile phones will be thrown away, and greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere from electronic devices and their associated electronic waste increased by 53% between 2014 and 2020. Planned obsolescence and throwaway culture as a whole is built on this illusion that we have unlimited resources. But that illusion is cracking. In reality, our natural resources are shrinking, our landfills are overflowing, and pollution is rising fast. The way we produce and consume right now, it's not just wasteful, it's unsustainable. Listening to all of this, I am sure there are some people out there right now feeling super doom and gloom about what I'm saying. They're gonna say, the system's broken, it's beyond repair, burn it down, we're all screwed. I don't know why you sound so angsty. And I would like to gently point out that that mindset, it's throwaway culture in disguise. I know it's a spicy take, but hear me out. It is always gonna be easier to say, burn it all down, just toss it, it's ruined, than to say, you know what, this system is flawed, but I think it's worth fixing. I bring this up because planned obsolescence is a symptom of something much bigger, the deeply flawed culture of modern consumerism. It's a problem that we as consumers so often chase microtrends and keep buying from companies we know design products to break, like Apple. It's also a problem that companies intentionally build products to fail or feel outdated, then pour billions into marketing to convince us we need the next version. And it's a problem that our current form of capitalism rewards constant revenue growth at all costs, prioritizing shareholders over sustainability and profit over people. I think all of these things can be true at the same time, and I think that all sides should feel some level of responsibility. But I also think that a lot of this can be fixed with a shifting of cultural values. And that is not just me spouting off a bunch of woo-woo crap either. This is a growing reality for many countries. Take France as a great example. In 2015, France became the first country to make planned obsolescence illegal, punishable by fines and even jail time. And in 2021, France introduced a repairability index that makes companies score their products on how easy they are to repair. This move toward combating planned obsolescence is rooted in cultural values. The French value craftsmanship. They like timelessness. If anyone knows their history, they love to stand up to oppressive systems. The cultural values are not set in stone. We can all adjust and adopt our cultural values and those around us. Lead by example, talk to friends, think about how you communicate values through media. And at the risk of sounding a little cheesy, remember also that individual leaders can make a huge difference. A huge reason why France adopted these anti-planned obsolescence policies in the first place was because of a young activist named Laetitia Vasseur. This article does a great job chronicling her various efforts, and it's worth reading if only to get inspired by how much impact just one person can have. On that note, to wrap up this video, let's talk about a few ways that you can actually combat planned obsolescence in your life. And one is by supporting companies that value repairability and longevity. Patagonia's repair policy is a great example of a company incorporating that value into the business. The more that we can support businesses like that, the better they can do and the more of that they can do, and the more other companies are going to look over and maybe copy their model because they realize that's where consumers are moving. Another strategy is to buy secondhand and repair your products when possible. I know that's not always an option, but it's worth keeping in mind for when you can. And lastly, be intentional with what you are buying. We probably don't need a new iPhone every single year, nor do we need a new wardrobe every summer, and maybe we don't need the newest fancy refrigerator that breaks every 5 years. It is hard to resist trends, no doubt, but the cool thing about resisting those trends is that you save money in the process and make yourself a little bit richer every single time. And it makes the world a bit of a better place. It's a win-win. But what do you think about all of this? Are there certain ways that you see planned obsolescence show up in your life, and are there any ways that you try to combat it? Let me know your thoughts and your experiences in the comments below. And if you liked this video, I have an entire playlist of different video essays all about money and media, so go check that out. If you want to support this channel and what I'm doing, first off, thank you so much, and also I have links to do so down below. I have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee. I also have an Etsy. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I have a couple budget spreadsheets that I sell on Etsy. I also have a newsletter called the Pop Finance Report where I do a lot of things like on here, but I go into more niche topics, so you can go check that out and subscribe. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!